Hi peeps, it's Terse back in the old squat box once again, and this is one of my wine videos which I haven't done any for quite a long time, but I recently just bought 2 half cases, 2 cases of 6 half cases. The one I'm going to be tasting here and talking about today is the Carmenere Veneto. The Carmenere is actually an ancient French grape, but it's been brought back. It was lost for a time. I think I already did a video on the Carmenere that came from South America, because that's where cuttings were taken, and then the species died out in Europe because of fungus infection, and it was recently, well, it was brought back like 30 years ago to Europe, and this is an Italian version of it. This is the grape variety was planted in Italy, and now they grow it and produce it there. So this is the Carmenere Veneto. Is it Veneto? Carmenere Veneto. $14.99 a bottle, so it's a 15 quid bottle of wine. Let's just pour some of it. Let's see. There you are. As you can see, it's extremely dark red wine. So let me just put stop it back in the bottle. It's 12.5% proof, 12.5%. As you can see, it is a very, very deep red colour. I mean, it's like blood. I mean, that is, if you wanted to do a vampire movie, pouring it into glass would probably look like blood, although it's quite thin compared to blood. Oh, the nose is spectacular. It's got a whole load of complicated dark fruits, plum, blackcurrant. It's all in there, Oh, there's a slight tannin to the nose, mild spiciness, pepper, but there's also a light fruitiness in the back of the nose as well, and it's not too heavy on the alcohol. You don't get a bang of alcohol in the nose, so you can tell it's not going to be sharp to the taste of it. It should be full-bodied and rounded, which I do believe it's going to be, and I'm getting just that from just smelling it. Oh, it's much lighter than I expected. I expected it to be, a whole heavy punch to it, but it's a much more delicate and light flavour for such a dark red wine. And there is a slight dryness at the finish, and an even milder peppery taste than I expected just for the nose. There's not the sweetness that I would have expected from it. So it's I would say on the dry side of a medium dry, rather than any sweetness to it. I actually could have done with more sugars, but it's not unpleasant to the palate. It's hard to get the lighter dark berries, that the black currant's not come through, and the plum isn't as strong as I would wish it to be after the nose that it's got. I would have expected more fruit, but it definitely has got that earthy, rich, deep red, red wine sort of flavour to it, And it is cold. I mean, I haven't warmed it up. I should have let it get to room temperature, and I'm sure those flavours will start to come out. The nose is actually starting to change, even just for the few minutes that I've just taken it out of the room I store my wine, which is always at a very cold temperature, because it's got like 1.5 foot walls, so it's always, even in the middle of summer, so it's cool in there, under 12 degrees, so wine keeps very well in there. even, yeah, now I'm starting to get the more of the alcohol nose. There's a background there as well of not pepper, but you know, it's like mustardy, you know, a spiciness to it that isn't pepper. It's like a kind of mustard seed, which is unusual in a wine. And the alcohol's coming through as well as it warms up. It's starting to release sort of alcohol more to the nose. The fruitiness is coming out more now as it starts to warm. More black currant than blackberry. A definite black currant, a slight greenness, and the tannin, the dry tannin flavour of the red is coming through as well. Not overpowering, but definitely more distinct. And I think this is a beautiful wine. I mean, I'm glad I bought it. I tried to get the South American version of it, but they just didn't have it in stock anymore. Totally sold out. This was the closest that they had in stock. You know, the guy that seized me from my wine. This is the closest they had in stock to the Carmenere, or Carmenere from South America. And I've got to say, it doesn't have the full-bodied, deep flavoured pepperiness of the you know, and earthiness of the original one that I got from South America. But it's not a bad approximation. And I think I'm paying a bit more. I paid more for this, I think it was only $12.99 for the South American one, which I preferred. I'm paying $15 for the Italian version, probably simply because it comes from Europe. You'll find that a lot of wines if you're buying from Italy and France, you pay a premium because of the age of the vineyards and stuff like that. Even though they might not be quite as technically well made, I mean, they tend to try and use, you know, original processes, I mean, from you know, the age of the vineyards and the history of the farm that made them and stuff like that. And so you're paying a premium for that, even though the wines, I'm finding it's not quite as complicated or complex a wine as the South American one. And I do find that some Australian wines are far more well put together than European wines, and you'll get them cheaper as well than the European wines. But having said that, I'm not disappointed in this wine. And as it warms up, it's beginning to develop. The flavours are beginning to develop. There's more in it than you know, when I first poured it. And as it warms up, I'm just sort of rolling it in my hands, just to sort of like, you know, put enough warmth in it just to bring it up to room temperature, when I should get the whole full flavours from the wine. I like to do that sometimes, as you know, take a wine for cold, because a lot of wines you might find that, you know, at room temperature it doesn't really give you the best, and sometimes even a red can be drank in a cold temperature like you would a white, and you get, you know, a better sort of experience from it. So it's nice to start off, if you taste mine, you know, drink them cold and then let them warm up, you know, let them gradually warm up, and then you start to see how the wine develops, and you get a whole new idea of what's actually in the wine in the first place, you know. It gives you more of an idea of why you should decant and warm a wine, not especially a red, to room temperature before you drink it, whereas whites, they need to be kept at a cool and drink at a cool temperature in order to get the best from them, because as white wines warm up, the sugars take over the flavour, and you don't get the delicate flavours of the berry and you know the little complicated under flavours like the vanillas and stuff. They would be overpowered by the sugars as white wine warms up, and so it's often better to drink white wines cold before they get warm. But with reds, I like to start off with them cold and then warm them up and see how the flavour develops. The nose is picking up, there's a whole lot more coming through there, there's a lot more spice now. I said before pepper and you know a little bit of mustard, but there's a developing woody, greenwood come through, like not exactly apple, but a greenwood. When you break a stem of a plant, you get that green wood. It's coming through as well, and the berry flavours are developing. Definitely blackcurrant, blackberry, you know, plum. It's you know, all of them. They're all there. The plum is as distinct as it was, and the blackcurrant is coming through. Maybe even some green currant flavours. You know, that the greenness of the wood come through, and it's developing a green currant mixture there. It's a lot of fruit nose on it. There's a lovely depth to it, almost like an apple. I suppose that's the greenish, that you're getting an apple and a berry fruit. It's what fruits of the forest almost come through on that, you know. And the sugars are developing as well. The sugar is coming through. It does taste sweeter now than it did 5 minutes ago. It's a more complicated wine than I first thought when it was cold. I still think it lacks something from the South American version, but I still think it's a pretty good wine. And considering that wines have went up in price over the last couple of years since I've been buying them, I don't think I was cheated on the price I paid. And I would gladly have this with any red meat meal. Definitely something this would stand up even to like a venison rather than just a steak, a beef steak. You could have this with venison, and it would be a wonderful accompaniment for a venison or wild game. It's got all the flavours. The sweetness has come through, but the dark berries, that which you would probably have again as a sauce with a game meal, and actually begin to like this more and more as it warms up. So there we are. Carmenere Veneto. It's a 2012, and it's there, 12.5% volume. It's a wonderful red. Really enjoying it, and as I say, not too dry, but it's slightly more dry than the medium dry, but not too bitter, not oaked in any way, so it's not being falsely given its dryness, which I do like. I hate to buy wine and find that it's been soaked in oak chips to give it a fake oak flavour. This is a very nice wine, and it's something that I will put on my list maybe to buy again. But I bought 6 of these, and these will go down very well over the Christmas and New Year's season. Anyway, Thank you very much guys for watching. I hope you go out and try it. Sgwándifa.